Everybody, today is Thursday, June 28th, 2018. Danny Olkers is difficult. I am Goes. To my left is Dan Tom. And in New York is Danny Olkers. The guy who's difficult.
That me. I'm not difficult.
I feel like it's something different than that intro goes.
Danny's trying to get a flight, but he's going to have to end up paying a lot of money.
You said that there's a difference between buying flights Tuesdays and Wednesdays and the rest of the days of the week.
There is, but it's not always like that. Like, sometimes you gotta just bite the bullet and maybe leave a day early or late, but it'll save you a lot of money. In your case, that might be the case. Case.
But it doesn't look like it, because if I leave Wednesday, it looks like it's the same price as if I leave Thursday.
I don't think that's what's killing you. What's killing you is the coming back flight, I think.
Oh, well, if that's what's killing me, change that to Monday.
All right.
We don't have to do this now. We can do this later. Do the intro show or the pre-show. The show before the show.
There is no tomorrow.
Wait a minute. I'm an idiot.
What?
You come back on
What?
on the 3rd? August 3rd?
2nd or 3rd. Yeah, the 2nd is a Sunday, the 3rd's a Monday.
The 2nd is Thursday.
Of September?
Oh, September. Oh,
This would be the end of August to the beginning of September.
All right, hold on. I know this isn't the most compelling, but I want to get this out of the way. All right.
I apologize, Junkie Nation. For this.
423, Danny.
See, that's not that much higher. It's still higher. So I'll wait until Tuesday and see if it drops. I think it was 350 yesterday. Alright, thank you. 2 minutes.
My friend just used food poisoning as an excuse to get out of work. And my other friend just reminded this friend that she used that as an excuse 2 weeks ago. And she didn't remember because she was drunk. So now she's trying to, well, in her world, erase that text. But she doesn't get that text. Once they go through, they go through. Anyway. Here we are, about 2 minutes ago. Our guests aren't here. Our hosts aren't here.
Coming up in a minute.
You guys have no idea, like, how basket of cats things get.
What's that show on MTV goes? You think you know, but you have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how it goes?
True life.
True
life.
One of the last MTV shows I spent time watching. Not religiously, but you know.
I finished Gomorrah yesterday, season 2. They don't have season 3 out in America, but it's already been done.
Up in 30.
Awesome.
Gamora, like the character from
The
Guardians of the Galaxy?
God damn you, Dan. The only problem is it's all subtitled, so you really have to pay attention. You can't just, like, look at other stuff. Work or something like that while you're doing it.
I guess coming up. Stand by.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMAjunkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMAjunkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goes. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMAjunkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communications stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMAjunkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMAjunkie Radio. commence transmission. Live from MMAjunkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you're listening to the MMAjunkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes, or his co-host. To my left, it's the fight analyst, Dan Tom, and back east, producing, as always, Danny Otto. What's up?
What up?
What's going on?
Not
Morning.
much. Kind of waiting for a couple Russians.
Yeah?
Yeah, to show up.
Just
/
any Russians?
Peruvians now living in the United States.
Cookie?
More full-time than ever. And could be that, even more specifically, Las Vegas soon.
Oh, okay.
They're spending more time in Las Vegas than they are Houston. I'm talking about the Shevchenko sisters, Valentina and Antonina, both in the UFC. That's right. Antonina, her older sister, just made it into the UFC by way of the UFC's Dana White Contender Series. She won her fight and then was given a contract this past Tuesday. Goes and I were there, and her, along with yesterday's guest as well, he got T. Edwards. He got a contract.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 for this week, 4 for last week, and it just keeps chugging along. You know what's coming to an end, though, is Tough 27. This may be the last week we catch up with the previous night's winner. So Joe Giannetti won yesterday. He proceeds to the finale versus Mike Trizano. Those are the lightweights. We still have one more featherweight matchup, and then we'll be all set for the finale, which takes place one day before UFC 226 here in Las Vegas. So Joe Giannetti, he'll be calling in pretty soon. We get that one done, usually earlier in the first hour. So right now, Goes, while the Shevchenko sisters aren't here, let's talk a little bit about last night's episode.
Let's just get to it. Let's talk about the coaches'
The hockey?
challenge. Right? Isn't that
Was good
the
TV.
fun part?
That was good TV, man.
That was pretty funny. There's been a couple coaches' challenges where one person was really far ahead, and then you just think they're going to get buried, and all of a sudden the other person comes back. But this particular one, just seeing Cormier on skates, I don't know.
Ice skates, to be exact.
If I was Team Cormier, I would have thought, yeah, but our money's gone here. Stipe was kind of skating, right? Like, he was doing his thing.
A little bit.
Didn't go his way.
Just the warm-up. Yeah, Goes is talking about the warm-up. Stipe at least was skating. Not very fast, but he wasn't falling. And Cormier was a mess. I mean, like a belligerent drunk, you can't get him out of the club type mess.
Yeah, he was trying to walk on marbles or something.
He could not stand straight. He would have hurt himself, Goes, if they didn't outfit him with all that stuff.
That's what I wanted to ask you.
A tailbone, a wrist, an elbow. I mean, he was just boom, straight to the ice, boom, straight to the ice, non-stop.
Couldn't we set those guys up with ping pong or something? It seemed like every time they took a fall, you could just never know with a knee or something. And then, I don't know if you caught this, but the celebration, somebody needs to tell Daniel, when you celebrate and you fall on your back, you can't be kicking your legs like that. Those are samurai swords flying around. I think he almost chopped Rosendo in half.
Goes did not watch Tough Talk, so he actually shared that. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't Rosendo, it was another one of his coaches. When they went to the dog pile, he got cut here bad around the eye and had to get stitches. And they were laughing about it because it was months ago.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about it, at that particular moment, man, anything around the eye, that's pretty serious.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. I don't think he knew better. I think he just fell. I mean, I'm sure he was happy. He wasn't facing in the direction of where the dog pile came. And you know what? Speaking of Kane, how cool has it been to see that guy, Goes, who, when we talk about the top heavyweights in the history of the game and current, Kane's name's always up there. He's a badass, no matter whether he fights again or not. But that guy's been like the ultimate assistant coach to DC, hasn't he? He was there when DC traveled. He's in every episode, and he's helping these young cats when he probably could be at home, a fat cat, just doing well for himself. But instead, no ego. And he was cheering just as loud as those guys. You could see them, pounding on the glass. We'll share how that went down. And then he actually joined the dog pile, man. He's like a little kid having fun out there with his homie.
Just want him to say more. Just a little bit more.
Speaking of, I heard he's healthy and just waiting for the right contract. So that's that new era, man, that Conor McGregor brought over.
Well,
and one other thing here, and then we'll go back to Tough. I believe that Iaquinta's healthy and just wants to get paid more. And so he pulls out of his fight versus Justin Gaethje in Lincoln, Nebraska, late August. I'm not sure which fight night it is, but it's one of those. It was like the third week in August, I think. He pulls out of that fight versus Justin Gaethje. James Vick steps in, and they pulled him off his fight versus Paul Felder in Boise. Now, the Boise fight I know was in about 2 weeks. It's 1 week after UFC 226. The other one was a month later. So James Vick gets additional time. He gets a slightly higher caliber guy. I'm just going by ranking. It's no disrespect to Felder or Gaethje or anything. And he does get main event status. He's actually flying to Omaha to do, I think it's the ticket sale press conference. So it was like an 11th hour decision. They needed something when they figured out Iaquinta was not bluffing and he ain't fighting. He ain't bluffing. And so that's how that panned out. That's how that played out right there. Back to Tough. The way it happened was Stipe put on the goalie gear, full goalie gear, courtesy of the Las Vegas Golden Knights. And Cormier had his gear, like a forward. And basically it was just 10 shots from, 10 feet out?
If that.
Yeah.
On one of them, I think, didn't Stipe come after him?
Yeah. He tried to come at him like MLS style years ago. Remember those penalties? Uh-huh. And Cormier was able to make 4, right, guys, or 3?
Cormier made 4.
4, right. Yeah, Cormier made 4. And every single time he fell. But let's just say that Stipe wasn't far behind either in the talent category. Just because he could stay up on his skates, I mean, he was just standing there like a buffoon. They bailed Frank Mir out,
that
right?
is a lot more
Frank Mir was the world's worst goalie years ago against Nogueira.
Yeah.
And
you're better off putting a broom in the middle and just having it stand there.
I think so. And so DC made 4. So then DC goes into the goalie. They actually went in the back and changed their whole outfit. And both guys kept saying they were sweating profusely just from nerves, but the fact that it's hot in there. And so then DC's team, I think, felt pretty good about 4, considering the mess that was Daniel Cormier.
And he thought, even going in, he was like, I'd be lucky if I get 1.
Right. So at that point, they had to just, because here's another thing DC told them. I get $10,000, you guys get $1,500, and as long as it's not against the rules of the show or something within the legalities of, maybe the feds, I don't know. I'll match the $1,500. And DC's been coming in with Xbox parties and pizza parties and private chefs. He's really, really been doing, been a cool guy,
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, he comes in. And he's in the goalie position. Stipe makes the first 3. So right away you could just see Team Cormier going, there goes our 3,000. Not our 1,500. Yeah, 12. What is it? And Stipe makes the first 3 in a row. They're thinking it's curtains right at that point. And at that point he misses 7 in a row.
Yeah.
Cormier wins 4-3, and he's the champion.
Right up the middle with a lot of them.
Right. I mean, and Cormier, he just kind of like he had his legs a certain direction. He had the hockey stick right in front of him, and he was just standing there trying not to fall. I mean, it was a complete mess, but Cormier pulled it off. He's been dominating the season. He wins the coach's challenge. Hats off to him. I mean, he's just on fire. Now he said it himself. The important thing is the fight at UFC 226 versus Stipe Miocic. All this other stuff's cute. He's competitive. They don't like to lose, but that's the big one.
At one point, didn't you think it almost made sense for him just to sit down?
Probably. Yeah, just lay there.
Yeah. Well,
Costanza style?
I don't know about that, but yeah, just sit down.
Well, no, he went to his knees.
Yeah.
He went to his knees.
I think he might have did it for 1.
Yeah.
But I thought just kind of hang out there because it's not like he's going to hit the high corner, right?
I don't know if these shows go on Fight Pass, but you got to see last night's episode of The Ultimate Fighter, at least that portion, just the coach's challenge. Now, Jannetty fought Alan Zuniga, the Costa Rican, and kind of dominated him. I don't want to disparage the fighter, but he just was quicker, faster, more precise, and that's just on the feet. Then the fight got to the ground, and boom, Darce time, it was over. So Jannetty moves to the finals, and he'll be joining us soon. So we got to take a break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close. We'll talk to Joe Giannetti and The Shevchenko sisters have arrived. They will be in studio here with us. Valentina, longtime bantamweight contender, now a flyweight contender in the UFC. Joining her is her sister Antonina, who made the Ultimate Fighting Championship courtesy of Dana White's Contender Series this past Tuesday. Not only did she win the fight, she won a contract. So we'll talk to them both also when we come back. Stay close.
kicked off the set of The Fast and the Furious for being too loud and too good-looking. Once again, here's gorgeous George and Goes.
NBA Radio is your free agency headquarters this summer. Stay updated on the latest news and rumors surrounding some of the biggest free agents hitting the market, such as LeBron James, Paul George, and DeMarcus Cousins by listening all day to NBA Radio, Sirius 207, XM86, and on the SiriusXM app. Or you can just tune in and listen to where DeMarcus Cousins might land, because LeBron and Paul George are both going to the Lakers. You heard it here first.
I don't want that.
No?
I'll take Paul George.
I think Cousins is going to Dallas, so just listen to him because it's a quality channel. It's Channel 86. It's one of my favorites. But, yeah, it is the summer of LeBron. You guys will dig it. All right, let's do a quick interview here with Joe Giannetti, man. That's what we've been doing, is catching up with the winner of the previous night's episode. These guys have been holding on to these secrets for months, so they can finally let it all out. Last night, he dominated, man. There's no other way to put it, over his opponent, Alan Zuniga, and now he proceeds to the finals. Well, the finale is what they call it, the Ultimate Fighter finale. It's season 27, which takes place on July 6th and is headlined by Brad Tavares against Israel Adesanya. Joe Giannetti will be facing off against Mike Trizano. He joins us now on the hotline. Punch him in, please, Danny. What's up, Joe Giannetti? How you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good, my man. Welcome back to MMAjunkie Radio. Great to have you back on. You made it look easy yesterday. I know you gave yourself a 7 out of 10. I think you're being a little harsh on yourself. I thought I saw maybe a 9.5 out of 10. I mean, everything you were throwing was landing, and that was just on the feet. And then on the ground, you were very calm and composed, and you tweaked your chokes from Darce to guillotine to, a couple scrambles, and it all looks smooth, my man.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Now, my question is, lightweight, you're going to be competing as a lightweight always, right? Or could you make featherweight?
Yep. It's been a thought of mine. I mean, I'm a big 55er. I have a big cut. But I mean, standing next to Max Holloway, it makes me double think it. But as of right now, I'm not looking at 45 anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, first things first. Like I said, you've represented yourself very well. Your home gym, Team Cormier. I've really liked. I've just liked everything all about you. The touching story of what you and your dad went through, to get you there, and what you plan on doing when you win. All of that, man, it really, really came off nicely, and I'm sure you gained a ton of fans through this experience. Can you sum up the experience? Everything with the exception of the finale, which hasn't happened yet.
It was awesome. I mean, a couple people today have tweeted at me, people that I had beef with in my local MMA community before, and kind of just patched things up more so. They got an in-depth look at how I am and what I've been through, and they kind of appreciated it, and they look at me different now. And I think that's my favorite part of the show, is people that thought they knew me got to actually know me, and they appreciate how I carry myself.
You know what's my favorite? One of my favorite parts of the show is hearing from fighters that we always hear the bad side. Man, 6 weeks, no newspapers, no internet, no phone calls, no nothing, man. You get gourmet cooking, you can order what you want, and you get some great training. But what I really like hearing is the result. And I remember hearing you say that you got so much better in those 4 to 6 weeks that you were in the house.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. And I mean, he even said it on the show. DC and those guys didn't really change my game. They just added little things that made such huge improvements.
Yeah. And seeing you have a great coaching staff, but just two guys that who doesn't look up to, you know what I mean? If you're a fighter or a martial artist, Cain Velasquez and Daniel Cormier, I mean, that's a lot of gold that's been around waist. Those are guys that are talked about in their respective weight classes as all-time greats. You know what I mean? That right there had to instill a fire in you from day one to just get better and learn and soak it all up. Yeah,
it was amazing. I mean, it was just crazy to me. Like, I was just watching these guys on TV, and now I'm calling them coach for the next 6 weeks. And, I mean, even something simple, sitting in the sauna and just, like, having a bad time, like, wow, this sucks. And then I look up at DC sitting right next to me. I'm like, this is the light heavyweight champ of the world. Like, could be worse.
Yeah. Both of them cats put a lot into you guys. You can tell. Much respect to them as well. All right, Goes, what do you have for Joe Giannetti, one of the finalists at next Friday's Tough Finale?
Joe, since the last time we spoke to you, there's been a couple things that have come up in episodes that are a little different. And we've had the coaches interact more at the house. I believe it was Stipe that came over with the pizzas, but it was Daniel Cormier that came over with the video games. In those instances when that happens, is everyone in the house, do they all let loose, or is it more, like say with the video games, is it more just the Cormier side that everybody is happy, having fun? Can the Stipe guys let loose and hang out with those coaches, or are their lines drawn?
It was really cool between both teams. I think we all blended really well. I mean, even when they let us watch the fights, we all sat next to each other and we kept it civil. Stipe came some nights with his coaches, and he was really cool to us. And then our coaches came some nights, and they were really cool to the other guys. So it was really just awesome seeing how professional everybody was.
All right, I got to ask you about the coaches' challenge. It was cracking us up. We see their reaction when they come into the arena, but obviously that arena is just for them to practice, hockey. It's not like if you were to go to T-Mobile, you don't know. There could be a ring set up. There could be a basketball court. A lot of things go down there. We know it's just hockey. What we didn't see was their reaction in the car. Were you there when they first pulled? Did everybody pull up together? And what did the coach's reaction look like when they found out it was hockey?
So on the way to the Golden Knights practice arena, we had driven by a basketball court, and it had a bunch of bleachers outdoors. So we all got pumped up. We were like, oh, basketball, awesome. DC's going to sink every shot, or if they do one-on-one, we're all set. And then we drove by it, and we're like, where are we going? And the drivers weren't saying anything, and we kept going, and we pulled up to the Vegas Knights arena, and we were all like, oh, no. and we were like asking DC, have you ever had skates on before? He was like, a couple times. He's like, I can't promise anything, boys.
Yeah, man, because those $3,000 at stake. Did he wind up matching it, the $1,500, like you said he would?
He did.
All right, because let us know, man. We're here in Vegas, and we'll be seeing him next week. We can track that down for you guys if you need any bounty hunters. Yeah, man, that was a really fun episode to watch because of the hockey. I know you guys had to have been nervous because he did put up 4, but it looked like Stipe was going to come back and maybe, yeah, especially after he smashed the first 3 in. You know what I mean? It looked like he was going to just go in there and take that one down.
Yeah, I don't want to say I gave up, but after the first 3 in a row just went in the net, I was kind of like, this might be all over.
I wouldn't
Where's
have
Joe
blamed him.
Jannetty? He's in the van. He already gave up.
I wouldn't have blamed him because when he walked out, he could not walk, George. He couldn't walk. It'd be like if I were in the home run derby and I had 2 casts on my arms.
Right.
Would you have confidence in me?
Not at all.
That's the way I would have been, man. I just would have thought, dude, homeboy can't even walk. How are we going to win this?
And then
I would have been making deals with the other team.
Exactly. And then when he won and they were holding him up, his legs were still dangling. Did you see that?
Dude, it was like Woody from Toy Story.
Yeah, and then we heard about the coach that got cut. Did that scare you guys? I mean, they said it was bleeding and it was around the eye. You know any more about that?
So I actually didn't even see it happen because I was too busy holding DC up afterwards because he was still falling all over the place. And then a few minutes later, I turned around and I was like, where's Camacho? And everybody's like, dude, he's on his way to the hospital. I was like, what are you talking about?
Wow.
And they said that when DC fell back, his skate caught Camacho over his eye and he cut his eyebrow.
Yeah, and DC's over there celebrating like a pig in doo-doo, just kicking them legs up like a little baby.
Like, you know what I mean? Bumper from Bambi, right?
It looked like a little baby, like change my diaper, but he was laying back there. I was
happy for him.
It was a great episode.
You know what cracked me up?
You could tell Stipe was seething a little because he's competitive, and he blew that lead, man.
For as bad as DC was in hockey, when you look at him with the missing tooth and the gear, he actually looked like a hockey player, didn't he?
A little bit, yeah. All right. Well, Joe, man, it's been a great season. All you cats are undefeated. Hopefully, not just you and Trezana, but a few of the other guys come along for the ride. At the finale, we've still yet to see the whole slate, the whole card, but it really has been a fun season, and it sounds like you enjoyed it and got a lot out of it. And I know you made some fans, and you had that little. You made peace with some of your rivals out there in the Northeast, so that's good to hear. Just so many things came out of this positively for you guys, for your team, for you, and that's a home run, in my book.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I didn't know what was going to come out of this, how well I was going to do in the show, but I think that as long as I can finish it up and win the finale, it was a perfect story.
Right on, my man. All right, well, go out there and do some work. Start stacking that paper, and then you and your pops go to the jewelers here in Mandalay Bay. They got a great spot out there, man. Start building up that arsenal again. You know what I mean? I know how the Italians roll in the Northeast.
Yep, you got that right.
All right, brother. Thanks for the time.
Hey, thank you.
All right, take care. Big shout out to Chelsea and Aaron for lining that up. They've done it all year, and it's been fun catching up with the previous night's winner from every episode. All right, let's take another quick break, and then we will bring in the Shevchenko Sisters. They're here in studio with us. And Tonina, the latest winner, one of two winners from the previous 2 nights ago, Tuesday night, Dana White Contender Series. She's in. She's going to fight at flyweight. At least that's what I heard. Her sister fights at flyweight, but okay. And we also have T. Edwards, who was a guest of ours yesterday. He's also now in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. So stay close. We'll be right back with the Shevchenko Sisters.
Passion, common sense. These guys have none of that. You listen to them, so you're no better. I am awesome, though. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Available right now on demand, it's SiriusXM NFL Radio Town Hall with Super Bowl 52 Most Valuable Player, Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Nick Foles. Join Jim Miller for an in-depth look at Nick's improbable journey from backup quarterback to Super Bowl champion. On demand right now on the SiriusXM app. All right, I want to welcome the Shevchenko sisters, starting on the far right, Antonina Shevchenko, and younger sister, Valentina Shevchenko. Hello, ladies.
Hi. Good morning.
How you doing?
Doing great.
All right. Well, congratulations on your win, Antonina.
Thank you very
this
much.
past Tuesday at the Dana White Contender Series, you got the win and the contract.
Yes.
2 wins.
Yeah, 2 wins was great night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was happy very much. I'm happy now, of course. It was exciting for this fight and got the win and contract.
Mm-hmm. You were the 5th fighter. You were the main event.
Yeah.
So you got the opportunity to see how the rest of the card went when you went out there. Did that change your approach, knowing that the first 3 were, pretty good? There was some finishes. Number 4 was like quick, because you guys are competing not only to win but for the contract, and they don't always guarantee 2 or 4 like the week before. Usually it's just 1. So were you kind of figuring all that out?
Before Antonina will answer, I can tell that it's worst when you are fighting the last one than you are fighting the first.
But you have all the info in front of you.
You don't see nothing because you are so focused on your fights that you cannot see any fight.
Oh, so they don't have a TV in the back?
They have, but you can watch, but you don't see.
Oh, the focus.
Yeah, you just so focused in the fight, so you don't see the fights. So for me, it was the same. I didn't think at all about other fights and about getting contract and about things like what happened with other fight and what should I do in the fight to get the contract. So I didn't think about it.
Okay.
I knew that I have to do everything right in my fight, to stick to the game plan, to react right, to be fast, to be good in the fight, and it will bring another thing. So if the fight will do good, I will do good, so it will bring me a contract.
How different does training for the MMA fights versus the Muay Thai fights, how does that feel for you?
It's same. I didn't compete lately as much in MMA like in Muay Thai, but we still have training with Valentina, the same training, because Valentina was preparing for the fight. I was helping her
Antonina
in training
every time
camp.
in my training
And so in my trainings, of course, we had all style of MMA training like wrestling, grappling, striking and everything, but of course before the fight of Muay Thai fight, we was focusing on Muay Thai technique and everything. And I should say that in MMA, for example, you have to work more techniques, because it's more techniques in MMA that the fight include more techniques, including like grappling techniques and wrestling and everything. So
when it comes to your family, a lot of people talk about your striking. And I remember in Virginia, you had told me, I have other tricks as well. And so with you, a lot of people, we saw you come in and we go, oh, she's a striker, but what else does she have? Did you feel any pressure to maybe show some of those other tools? Because when Valentina was able to pull off her submission game and show how she is on the ground, it caught everybody by surprise.
No, again, I didn't think about what should I show in the fight or like something like this. I was thinking about this, that I have this fight, I have this opponent. What should I do to win this fight? What should I do to win this fight faster? So, and during the fight, I looked about how things working. So, if striking is good, okay, striking is good. But if clinching is good, okay, let's do clinching. If we started to fight on the floor, okay, I'll fight on the floor. So it was like managing fights during the fight also, before having of course game plans. So it's everything about fight, and main goal to win the fight faster and to be focused on the fight.
It's something like when fighter is incomplete, his or she is thinking how to show for the public, how to show for the people what she or he can do more. If he is a grappler or she, they want to show more striking. If they are strikers, they want to show some grappling. But when fighters are complete, they're thinking how to win the fight faster, and doesn't matter what you will use, your ground game or striking game.
You can use only your punching and will be good with this if it brings you victory.
This is what we are doing on our trainings. We are training in everything. We are like training grappling, striking, clinching, everything. And after, like when we are in the octagon, we decide what the game we will do right now.
I like it. The Dana White Contender Series is very different. I'm sure in past fights, when you walk out, there's an energy that the crowd brings, right? There's so many people and they're surrounding you. This is different. It's very small. Can you talk about what the difference is you're feeling? Do you play off the energy of the crowd? Was it a little different?
It was
so
all
quiet?
All the same.
Different but the same.
Different but the same, yeah. I felt this energy. I don't know, maybe fighter it's like by myself just brought this energy for the fight. And the adrenaline was the same that I felt. Exciting, I was the same. And when I walk out, the crowd was like shouting, like maybe not too much like a stadium or something, but I felt the same energy. So
By
was the
the
same for me.
by the end of the day, it's the same power what you are hitting. It's the same power of striking that you receive, and it's the same opponent. It's the same octagon. So it's the same inside. It's a little bit different outside, but once you are inside, it doesn't matter nothing.
And fighter who is inside the octagon, being in the stadium, huge stadium, or being just in small stadium, the focus is the same. He sees only his opponent and referee, and hears some his seconds corner or something. It's the same.
There are a lot of siblings, brothers and sisters, or brothers and brothers, sisters and sisters that fight in MMA, and they always say they're more nervous when their sibling is fighting. Do you both feel that same way?
It's true. It's so true.
That's right. Yeah, I'm always nervous when Valentina fights.
And the same for me. And on this fight, I was so nervous. I was thinking every time that I'm very like controlled person. That I every time know how to control my emotions. But this fight showed me that sometimes it can happen that I really don't know how to control it, because it was so huge, and I was really very nervous. And when she was fighting, I was there. I was not only on my like. Just like helping her between the rounds. I also like my mentally I was inside in the cage with her.
It was cool watching them. I could hear you louder than Pavel.
Yes.
Well, she was
I
mostly
could hear
saying,
her
"Hey," because I know that they do that
in
in
Muay
Muay
Thai.
Thai.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was watching that. I was getting a kick out of it. I also think it's a good strategy. I think no matter what, judges are human.
Yeah.
And they can be influenced by the crowd or the coaches, just because, folks, we have as good of a seat as you can get. You know, the Dana White Contender Series is small, and we're on the bleachers. We've sat in the first row, second row, third row, and there's still the partitions where the cameraman is. There's the referee. There's the other fighter. You still have to move around. You know what I mean? And sometimes the judge may not see the difference between somebody just missing or getting hit if their back is towards it, you know? So I've always liked energetic corners, and you guys had an energetic corner.
This is very typical Muay Thai like style, when you are shouting on the each like hits that your fighter is hitting, and this is usually like in Muay Thai style they do all their fights, and it's more like sounds great when you, for example, you have your whole team and they are shouting the same like on each strike, and it sounds very nice. But this time I was alone and I was trying to do my best.
Yeah, no, you could hear it because there's not many people there. The CSA camp does that a lot. Kieran Fitzgibbons and Gaston Bolanos and Joe Schilling, those guys up north, they're always, hey, you know what I mean? So I've seen it before. All right. I have a polite and respectful disagreement here with the Shevchenkos. Should I do it now or at the end of the interview?
Oh, now it's becoming more interesting.
Ooh, look, she made a fist.
Yeah. I am going to stand over here.
Okay. Because I really love to be honest with the guests, no matter what. I want to go back to the earlier part of the conversation when I asked you about, you knew you had your opponent, and you knew that at the same time, we didn't know if they were going to have another contract or multiple contracts. It could just be one contract. And Valentina said that, well, we are focused on the warm-up and getting my sister ready for the fight. Okay, I understand all that, right? I wanted to ask you, you didn't know what was happening? I know your sister was warming up, but did you know what was happening?
What's happening in the event? For sure.
Oh, so you were watching a little bit.
Yes,
okay.
I was watching the fights, how it's going on, who is winning, who is losing. So I was, because I have to do it, because it's my job. I have to tell her that it's like second fight and third fight, and she has to be ready. She has to know how many time he has before her fights.
Right. Well, here's why I bring it up. It's not really that confrontational or anything like that, but I think it's a good, solid conversation, okay? Because I noticed something that you said, and something a frustration that Valentina had when she competed for the world title. You were very disappointed, and you were wondering what the judges might be thinking, how they're interpreting the fight. You know, you gave your reasons for why you thought you beat Amanda, and then obviously the judges cited in another direction. And I was thinking, and we've known this, and I'm sure you do as well. There's the fight. You got to be your opponent, but at the same time, in that process, there's another fight, and it's the judges. You know what I mean? Because if it's a close fight, you don't know what the judges are thinking. And so I feel like the same thing here, Antonina, in your fight, you had to win your fight, but at the same time, you had to outperform fighter number 4, T. Edwards, because if they only gave one contract, that's hard to beat. I mean, he iced the guy in 28 seconds. You know what I mean? That's why I was asking the question. But I respect you guys' focus and your ability to block everything out and just, you know, focus on the battle. So on the one hand, like, I really, really appreciate that. On the other hand, I'm wondering, could there be any form of adjustment going forward, just knowing that there's something in addition to the fight itself, the opponent itself? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, totally. Okay. Yeah, I would compare. It's like when fighter competing maybe to get the bonus, like this.
A little bit too, yeah.
Something like this. I would not compare it like Valentina's fight with Amanda, because it was totally different. It's just judging, seeing. But comparing, it's like when fighter wins and one fighter, between 5 fighters who wins, one have bonus and another has not. So I would say, for me, just the same answering, like very honest.
Yeah.
I was focused in my fight. I knew that I can finish my opponent earlier, so I knew that. So I didn't know how to do it, maybe with punches, maybe with kicks. I had like different arms to do it. So I knew it. I didn't know it would be first round, second round, or third round. It depends on opponent, of course. Also, what I saw from my opponent, that she's maybe low, different levels than me, like a fighter. But I knew that seeing her between fight or before fight, I understood that she would not give up easy. So she didn't come here to Dana White Contender Series for struggling for this chance to get in UFC and just walking and just giving up in the octagon. She is coming here to show herself. Maybe she understands also she will lose, but she understands that she has this moment to show that she is also a good fighter, and she doesn't give up, and she will do everything to win me. And of course she was maybe thinking about this upset or something like this. So every time when fighter with this thinking, with this meaning, it's a dangerous fighter, because she has the same gloves that I have. She has the same strikes that I have. And also she has this things that if she will take me down, she can finish me. So she also has this chance to have her chance. So I understood that I can finish her earlier, but I had to be focused to finish, to make it happen. You understand? So I couldn't think like, okay, I understand that I can finish her, but I have to think how to finish her to get this UFC contract. I can't think this. Actually, because it makes me not focus and finish.
The more I think about it, I hope you don't think that I'm interpreting your fight didn't go in any way that it shouldn't have gone. It was a great fight, and I thought you finished her at the appropriate time. I was just wondering in the back if there was any conversation about what needed to happen going out. But your fight was great. You were very calm, and then when you saw the finish, you went for it, and it was very devastating. You have an incredible clinch. You know what I mean? So the job did get done. But I've always, and this doesn't just have to do with this, this interview. I've just wondered in all the seasons that I've gone, it's like a different game, the Dana White Contender Series. You know, it's
almost like part game show a little bit.
It is a little bit of a game show. Guy, I had a comparison the other day. What was the comparison I gave? Was it like
I don't know. I know what they mean now, though, about being nervous for the other sibling, because I was more nervous for your question than I was for mine.
I don't know. What's the question?
Valentina started off like
What's
this.
the question? Go
And
ahead.
you know the other part. It's also you cannot think like before the fight. Okay, I will go there and I will get my KO. I will do it in 13 seconds.
Right.
12 seconds. You cannot think like this, because if you are thinking like this, you have very big chance to get
To
this
get this
KO.
KO, yeah.
Entonces, and then it's very dangerous. Every fighter go to the octagon and they are like want to show the best performance of themselves, and they want KO, but you
course.
cannot think like, okay, I will do it right now in this second round, in this third round. If you start to feeling it's coming, you go for it, and if it's happened, it's happened, and you have to be ready in 150% for do this KO. But this is like you was remember the fight with Amanda, the last fight for the title. For example, if I would think, okay, I will do KO right now with her, you have to manage the like opponent. For example, when you're fighting with someone bigger and longer arms, much heavier than you have to think, you run into it and what you will have. We could see
You run for your KO, and what happened?
we could see like other fights that she has, and we could see other girls, they are running into her, and what happened, it was easy for her KO, like very very fast. And that's why what was my game plan, to win her, and I won her. But the only one thing that it was on the fight is this takedown, and even in this
last round.
takedown, in this last round, I started this takedown, but it was like accidentally. She was bigger, she was slippery for the last minutes of the fight, and she stayed like from my backside. And this is like the reason of judges maybe in that moment they saw this like difference, because she in that time had and now she has a belt, and like so I think if they would go back and would fight again, they would count exactly my striking and compare her striking and all points, and they would change their mind.
Yeah. I keep remembering, even though you've had the 2 losses to Amanda on record, you've only fought for the title once.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
So
it was
for some reason, I think a lot of people feel like she's had 2 title chances. I'm like, no, she hasn't.
No.
She's only fought once for the title, but since then it dropped.
one was in July for UFC 213 when she pulled out because her like difficulties with cut weight, and then she was not feeling too well for the fight, and she said, okay, doesn't matter with fans, doesn't matter what they're waiting, I will like to have a break and recuperate. So this was her like strategy for the fight, and she didn't think about fans, she didn't think about UFC, she didn't think about the promotions that they did for that fight. She just was worried about herself, and that's why we had another chance to fight in UFC 215.
Yeah.
Just once.
But you've elected to go to flyweight, and you've already had your debut, and you smashed Priscilla, was her name, right?
Yes.
You smashed her out in Brazil. What do you feel like might be next now?
Next it will be title fight in flyweight division.
Right.
So it's
she's coming around saying she's healthy and it's gonna happen. It's
the-
almost like I don't want to disrespect fight, but it seems like a little bit now that she's reached the point where she's avoiding it. She did put something on social media, "Hey, I'm finally healthy," but. But what now? Like, but when's the fight?
This is true. Like, finally, she put that she's healthy, she's ready for September 8th.
Yeah.
So, but it's just words. So, like I said, like I did my post, I said, like, I cannot believe in words. Just sign the papers, sign the contract, and we will do it. Like, so once
September 8th, you're good?
Once she already said, like, I'm ready for July 7, but when UFC came back to her and said, let's do July 28, even give her a little bit extra time to prepare herself better, she said, okay, no, I feel not so ready now. So now she's saying she's ready for September 8th. Okay, let's do it finally.
You're ready for September 8th?
I'm ready every time. I'm ready right now. If she said, okay, let's do tomorrow for title fight, yes, let's do it.
There you go.
And how about you? Coming off Dana White's Contender Series, how much time do they give you to relax before you start to think about what could be next for you?
Now we'll see. Some days it will take some days to see what will happen next for me. So.
But I think Antonina, she is ready to step
Yeah,
in right
yeah.
now.
The fight was good, so I didn't have injuries or something like difficulties. So I think it's better because before this fight I had my Muay Thai fight in end of April. So I had my line fight world title defense. And right after this fight, I started to prepare for this fight in MMA. And it was just great because you finish one fight, you rest something, and you just feeling good. You still in good shape, and you just continue your preparation. It brings you more shape. It makes you more stronger, more skillful. So.
You know, between them, they're like 103-3 in Muay
Overall,
Thai.
in record?
You're 40-1, right?
I'm sorry.
Your record is 40-1.
Yes, it's
and
40
you're
and 1 in Muay Thai,
62-2 or something like that.
It's not 60, it's
54.
No, more.
No, at least
It's,
58,
58,
over
I
that,
think.
yeah.
58.
They got 100 wins, like 3 losses.
Wow. You know,
That's
we're
pretty
undefeated.
amazing. And then
0-0.
And she's 6-0 in MMA. So like you really have competed very well. You know, I know your sister's more famous because of what she's done in the UFC. But man, do not sleep on Antonina Shevchenko. She's here. She was destructive on Tuesday, and whenever you're ready for that next fight, the fans are ready.
Are you sure it's 3 between us? I think it's 2. Just one from my side, different from the Nina side. No. I was so focused on my lately everybody asking me about my MMA career.
There was one after Legacy, right? And then there was 2 before. I can't remember, but I thought I saw 58-2 at one point, and then I thought you got a win or 2 at Legacy, and then I thought there was a kickboxing loss in China or something.
Yes, it's 2. It's 2.
Okay.
2, yes, it's right. And yeah, you are right.
Yeah. I have a little bit of a brain. All right. So as far as Nico, you're ready on September 8th. Would you like to fight on the same card, or is that like not a good plan for the Shevchenko sisters
I would
to
like
fight?
to fight in same card.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because thinking of it, it's now I finished my training camp, and probably I want to have some relaxed time, to go somewhere, to travel somewhere, but we cannot for now, because if fight will happen September 8th, we have to have another training camp. And it will be when Valentina finish her fight September 8th,
then Antonina.
they put me another date, my training camp will start, so it will be like
but the Pettis brothers, they don't like fighting on the same card. Might be different,
We was every time we was fighting on the same events. For example, in World Muay Thai Championships, we was fight. It's like when you have not only one fight in the night, when you have during 10 days like 4 or 5 fights. It's not every day. It's like one fight in a day. Then you have, for example, maybe you have a rest day, or maybe you are fighting on the next day again. So it's like a weigh in the morning, afternoon fight, weigh in the morning, afternoon fight. Then by the final you have the same schedule. So this is what we have every time, and it's like no problem for us.
I think it's better because we every time have same training camp. But of course, if Valentina preparing for the fight, it's more focus for Valentina, and she's working more strong than me. But
I don't know who stronger works. So looking her last training camp, I would not say like this.
I mean, if it's your training camp, so you work stronger than me because I'm not in training camp. Is that what I'm saying? So if it would be the same event, it would be the same training camp, and it would be the same training as we usually have, but it will be same event. We fight, everything finish. If we can travel for some time, of course,
and
we can just have time.
From one more side, it will be more easy for our coach Pavel Fedotov, because he is like very, when he start to prepare each of us, he like put in every thought that he has. It's about how to win the fight with like the best way that we can do it, and how to become us like in better fighters, turn in our like best shape. And it's like, for him,
he's
it's
also
double
very
work.
focused. I mean, very, very focused for training camp for each of us, and it takes, of course, energy and every time and every people and want to have some time to recover. So it would be more easy, I think.
Let me jump in real fast. Nice. We have to go to the top of the hour break. Just a quick commercial. We got the Shevchenko Sisters here in studio with us, and we'll be right back with them after this message. It's the second hour of the MMAjunkie Radio Show. We're joined by Antonina Shevchenko and Valentina Shevchenko. They both fight in the UFC, both in the flyweight division. Antonina just made her debut at Dana White Contender Series. She got the win and the contract. Valentina, of course, has competed for the last few years, competing for a title, and now looking at a title shot at flyweight versus Nico Montano. Nico Montano, you can't just post that you're ready to go and put the date out. After all that, I think you got to, well, she really laid into Ariel Helwani, so she'll probably lay into me. But in my opinion, after all that, I would have said, I'm ready to go on September 8th, and here's the contract. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To just make the announcement, I don't know, it lacked something, you know. So that's how I say it, and I try and
I
be a
totally
straight
agree,
shooter.
and I hope I hope that it will happen like in the next few days. So let's see.
September
Let's
8th. In Vegas? Where's it going to be?
I don't know yet.
No?
So I think UFC still is thinking about the location.
Yeah.
So
Vegas is always the backup.
yeah.
But I heard Mexico or Canada. I don't know where. I just heard the whole country. Could be any of the cities.
Right.
But I don't know. All right.
Especially for me, it doesn't matter.
Lima, Perú.
Doesn't matter.
Lima, Perú.
Why not? ¿Por qué no?
¿Sí?
Hey.
¿Quieres en Lima,
Claro
Perú?
que sí, ¿por qué no?
Okay.
Shout out
Dan
to
Tom,
Lima.
our fight analyst, joining
What's
us.
O tal vez podría ser Kyrgyzstan. It
Kyrgyzstan.
can be Kyrgyzstan.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Sure.
Is it a lot of people watching in Kyrgyzstan?
Oh
MMA?
yes, oh yes. In Kyrgyzstan, it's the best part of Kyrgyzstan. That's martial arts, MMA. It's #1 sport in Kyrgyzstan. It's more popular than the soccer.
And wrestling.
It's much more popular.
Wrestling and martial arts, yes.
For example, in Kyrgyzstan, we have our like national MMA style. It's named Kulatu, and it's like in Institute of Physical Culture they teach it. So they have like specialists of from the government. So it's already how many years they have it? More than 20 years.
Right.
Like in the physical education.
Sounds like Cuba.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what Yo Romero was telling us. You brought him up earlier. We were talking in the commercial. Yo Romero said that when you're athletic, they will put you through a bunch of tests and athletics to see where you're best. No, first they ask you what you like, and he liked baseball. But then they watched him and they go, no baseball for you. And they said, try wrestling, because they felt like his athletic, his body build, his body chemistry was more suited for wrestling. And they were right. They trained him to be a silver medalist, Olympian, and a world champion, gold medalist, at the world championships. So sounds like kind of like what you're saying, where they help you determine where you're best at.
And it's very similar like it was in Soviet Union. I think they have the same kind of system, Cuba and Soviet Union. And even when it was like this time of Soviet Union, they were sending a lot of like specialists to Cuba to develop sport like boxing, and a lot of trainers they went to Cuba to work there. So for now it's like a little bit more, I think, free part. And like what I want to say, it's not only, for example, all kind of sports. It's in Kyrgyzstan there is one sport. It's #1. It's MMA and all kind of contact sports like Muay Thai, MMA, and like all kind of wrestling. All this thing. It's very popular, much more than like game sports.
Are there government do you know the government leaders? Have they ever made an attempt to meet you because of your rise through the
Of course
UFC?
I know. I was born in Kyrgyzstan.
No, but do they know you personally? Like do you have a
When
president?
we lived there, yes.
Yes.
When, we
Like
met them.
Vladimir Putin knows Khabib, so I'm wondering the leader of Kyrgyzstan.
Vladimir Putin, he didn't change a much time lately, but in Kyrgyzstan, yes, the leaders changed. And when we lived there, yes, but now they're
Kyrgyzstan, it's not so big country, but Kyrgyzstan, they have very a lot of talents and a lot of good fighters. For example, now we have one more student of Kyrgyzstan Muay Thai Federation. So his name is Rafael Fiziev, and he is very talented fighter, MMA fighter, and he has a lot of KO, and he will fight in July 10th in the same contender for the right to be in the UFC. So hopefully it will be not only 2 Kyrgyzstan fighters, but it will be 3 Kyrgyzstan fighters after this fight.
Dan?
No, I'm taking in the history lesson here. This is awesome. I was going to ask, the Muay Thai kind of strikes me as not funny, but I was going to be curious how you got into that bridge, because like we talked about Russia and certain nations having a history of martial arts. I know Russia, for example, only certain martial arts you'll see kind of thrive there, like wushu, sanda, sambo, judo, but then you won't see certain martial arts. Like you don't see a lot of Muay Thai in Russia, but Kyrgyzstan.
You're here a little bit mistaken, because it's a lot of very strong Muay Thai.
Okay.
Same in Russia, same in Kyrgyzstan, and it's a big team that every time go and compete in world championships, and usually they get a lot of gold, silver, bronze medals. And I think in the last
world championships they took
first place between all
Okay, well,
countries.
I guess I was just asking because I guess a lot of the fighters that we see from Russia or from Dagestan. We see a lot of master of sports boxing. We see a lot of master of sports like kickboxing, but I guess I don't see like the normal Muay Thai accolades. But okay, I'll have to look into that. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay.
It's because because from the beginning it's very popular in Russia. It's boxing and wrestling, and that's why everybody's thinking about these two sports.
Wonderful. Well, you mentioned Lima, Peru before Kyrgyzstan, and I have to before I get to anything else, I have to ask. Shout out to my friend Joe who watches the show. He lives in South America right now, and right now he's staying in Lima, Peru. And he actually just messaged me yesterday.
Oh yeah.
He said, "Hey, just curious, what gym did the Shevchenko sister train out of?" And he says, "We had you on the show today. I figured I might as well ask you. Do you guys have any gyms that you trained at or would recommend?"
When we was living in Lima, we was training in different gyms. Of course, every time with our coach, Pavel Fedotov, he was training us, and we give we teach classes in every gyms also. But one of the good academies that he can go. Yeah.
Inca MMA.
No, it's Sniper. So they will have everything. They will have they have good coaches there, like Christian Freire. He is coach, the main coach of this gym. So they have Muay Thai, they have boxing, they have MMA.
Yeah.
So they
also
have
it's
everything.
Peru Fight Academy. So it's depend what he's looking for, like to have some professional classes or.
And they are our friends, yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's a good shout out there. And just something else to pick up. You guys were kind of talking on the break about Yoel Romero, and you guys were talking. My Spanish it's not as good, but I can understand a little bit. And you guys were talking about style as far as output and countering and taking breaks off. And before the break, we were even talking a bit about your second fight with Amanda Nunes. So I wanted to ask you because I first of all, I really love both of your styles. I'm a really big fan. The southpaw from the Taekwondo to the Muay Thai, how you incorporate everything, it's wonderful. But you also sound very smart and intelligent. So I want to kind of pick your brain. You mentioned Pavel, but who is it that kind of game plans? Do you help each other game plan? Does Pavel do the game planning? And with that game planning, especially for MMA, do you have to change it up from Muay Thai? Because we see, and I'm sure you can talk about it, the different judging styles. From boxing, Muay Thai, they reward controlling exchanges, defense, whereas MMA, not so much. They're just looking at really kind of basic who's coming forward and throwing sometimes. They don't reward the counter striker. Sorry, packed question, but who does your game planning, and what do you think about that as far as MMA goes?
Okay, Valentina, you start.
The main, of course, our coach is Pavel Fedotov. Okay. He is like our head, and he's every time he's thinking about how to fight, what's the best style. But every time he's working on everything. He's not a kind of coaches. He just like, okay, you're a striker, we are do a lot of striker. Right. Okay, you're wrestling, we are do your better side. No, every time he put us into the work to work everything, because to win the fight you have to dominate all disciplines, right? You cannot be only striker, you cannot be only grappler, you have to be everything. And this is what I like in for example MMA, because it's you are a complete fighter in this style. You can do everything. It's the same in Muay Thai. You are a complete fighter, you can use whatever you want, but before the ground. This is why I like so much these two styles. And of course, being so much time in martial arts, for example, like Antonina, she's starting at 7 years old, and now more than 20 years. Same me, being so long time in martial arts, we are thinking about our game plans too. And if, for example, there is some points when, for example, Antonina see okay, my opponent, she will do like this, and maybe we can work on this one. She go and she speak with Pavel, and
at first I go and speak with Pavel what he's thinking about it. So, and he's thinking about it and make his decision, and then work with Valentina.
Who called the check hook for Holly? Obviously, that's important punch for southpaw. You always have to have that. But that was there for you in that fight so much. Was that something you guys saw?
Natural. It was not like game plan or something we invented.
Okay.
Or something. It was her natural. It just naturally worked.
And the main part for this fight, I think the main key, it was that I was preparing with Antonina, especially for this fight, because really I'm not seeing the same level of striker like her in UFC. the same level of her. So she's like the top level of striker, and this is what helped me a lot to fight with Holly and win Holly home. So I knew if I can do it with her, it will be more easy with Holly. And this is what I think it was the main and the biggest key for this preparation for this fight.
Wonderful. And so we're just
let me
go ahead,
say
please.
something real fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not dumb enough to ask you guys if you'll ever fight each other because I know you're going to be in the same weight class. But what is the plan in case? I mean, like I mentioned, she's never lost in MMA. You just have a couple combined. You've 103 in Muay Thai. So eventually, you guys are going to continue to climb. But what is the plan at that point?
For now, for me, my plan is go and fight for the title.
Yeah, we are going step by step. Like we can plan like 2 years or 1 year. It will take some time for me to climb to the highest positions and to be number one contender.
I don't think it will take few years. I think it will happen much faster.
I mean, I don't know. Of course, I will do it much faster as I can, but we never know because in all these years of training, I saw that everything can happen. Injuries, fighters can feel bad and everything. So I just don't want to talk like very like, oh, I do this because I take it easy, step by step. So for now, for Valentina, it's her title fight. After that, I will climb to the top, and then we'll see. We'll see what happens by that time when it will happen.
I think everything will be good because, like Antonina said, for me it's I really focused in my flyweight career, so I really focused and do my best things in this weight class because it's more natural for me. In 135,
I'm totally agree. It's just what we can do. It's just this perfect weight for Valentina 125, and it's perfect weight for me 125. So.
Even when I was fighting in 135 in bantamweight, I was feeling me great, strong, but anyway, I have to struggle with a bigger size opponent who cut their weight from 160, 165 sometimes, so it's a huge difference. Even Amanda, she's very big fighter, very heavy fighter with longer arms, and they're everyone like this. But anyway, I didn't have any problem, but in 125, I just feel like this is my weight class, and why I have to fight in something different if this is like exactly what I was looking for and what I was waiting. When UFC decided to create this weight class, I was knowing for sure from the first second it will be my next weight class. And but like your question, what we will do like in the future, I still like have this, how I can every time say unfinished business with Amanda.
Right.
And so I still like planning to have my fight, my dream match like with her, but not right now. It will happen, but maybe in the future. Yeah.
Wow, that's wonderful to hear. And yeah, I was going to say, I don't think, it doesn't seem like weight class or any other competitor, man or woman, would scare either of you two. But kind of rounding back to the question, though, maybe even back to Amanda even a bit, was the only thing that I see maybe being your enemy at all is the judges. Is probably your strongest enemy, right? I don't think the weight class or opponent is necessarily an issue for you, but maybe the judges. And, you know, we just had Stephen Thompson. I know it's a different martial art, but he's more of a counter fighter as well, comes from more traditional base. And he released an interview on MMA Junkie today just talking about feeling like he's been kickboxing for a long time too, but even late into his career, feels like he needs to change his style. You know, because again, like I said, the judges, they don't understand striking like you do. What is your opinion on this? Do you feel that you need to change your style?
It's not possible. I mean,
not understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's just how to change his style. He grew up in this style. He is this style. He has perfect style, I think.
I think this is it. He has very like high level striking.
Of course.
And of course, like judges, they understand it. Understand if you're like doing your counter strikes and you are very certain you hit it, everyone is understand. With if like the head of opponents goes this way, everyone understands it.
Right.
Of course, it's sometimes you cannot do like knockout. You cannot go for this one because it also depends of your opponent. When it's too higher level,
yeah, right, but many KOs, they coming from counter strikes.
Mhm.
Not all chaos just attacking.
Yeah.
So
yes.
it's just, I think in this case, it's not, this is my style, this is the problem. I think it's just judges who sees this style a little bit like different, or I don't know. Every judge has his background and has point of view on this. One judge saying, like me, it's the highest level of technique, like Stephen Thompson, and he was like not only just touching by these counter strikes, he was giving very good punches. So this is good. He is winning. Another judge would say, no, he's also like he's not managing this center of octagon. This kind of rule, center of octagon, it just, I think, not right, because you can do damage not from the center octagon.
I agree for what it's worth. I love Steven's style. I love your both of your styles. I love countering styles, but I just get frustrated as an outsider perspective, and I'm sure George too can weigh in on this. That when you see someone outstriking somebody, and then the judges don't give it to them, and not every judge, of course. Everybody judges different, but I guess that's what I was asking.
And also one detail. For example, when you're fighting, when some opponent like bigger, for example, if compare my last fight with Amanda and my last fight in flyweight division, when it's someone bigger, you have to manage your distance.
You can't go like
and in our fight, it was like both of ours, we was like using our high speed, and it was sometimes it's so fast that judges cannot see the strikes, and if they go in slow motion, they will see my punch, like everything. But when you are seeing it's live, it's so fast that you are like, okay, I'm missing a little bit. But for example, if we go back to flyweight and the same opponent, even Priscilla, she was taller than me even in flyweight,
but
and
the same like size,
the same size. In this weight class, I can use more techniques from me that I have in my that I have in me, without thinking about this risk that I can get about with fighting with someone bigger.
Okay, I know you guys have to get going. Thank you very much for stopping by.
Thank you too.
And doing the show. We really appreciate it. Valentina was sharing with me that you guys might be in Vegas more often. I don't know if that's for the immediate future or whatever, but you're more than welcome to come back so we can maybe talk a little bit more about the fights that you have happening. But we haven't even talked about Peru, and me and my brother, we've been to Kyrgyzstan, so we want to talk a little about that, and soccer and food, and you know what I mean. So
yes,
maybe after your next fight or whenever you have an off day, if the coach gives you an off day, we'd love to have you back. All right.
Thank you very much. Yeah, with our pleasure, we come back here.
Awesome.
Thank you, George. Thank you, guys.
We had very pleasant conversation.
Yes, but not when we will in the training camp, because because it's every time you have the morning times of your program, and
okay,
we
so
have
what if we switch the show to the afternoon? Then what?
Then we will be here every day.
Oh wow!
Careful.
All right, so that's Antonina Shevchenko, and this is Valentina Shevchenko. The Shevchenko sisters have invaded the Junkie Radio studios, and we got to take a break now. So we will be back in a few minutes after this commercial. Let me give you real quick their Twitter handles. We'll start with Valentina. She's Bullet Valentina, and Antonina, she is Antonina Pantera. We'll be right back.
King Kong has a lot of shit on them. Like a lot, especially Goes. They're Gorgeous George and Goes.
All right, we're back on MMAjunkie Radio. That was a fun time. We had the Shevchenko Sisters in studio. You know, when we went to JBLE, which is the bases that we go to over in Virginia. It's JBLE because it stands for Joint Base Langley Eustis. Our very first trip, we went with Valentina, and so we've known about her sister for quite a bit. And if you follow Muay Thai, you've seen her fight there. We finally got to see her fight live at the Contender Series, so it was nice to see them now both doing the same thing. And it was pretty interesting, some of the stuff we learned, because even I was kind of figuring out, like, we've had some pairs of brothers on the show before that have said they like to fight on the same card. I think the Lozons like it. The Pettis brothers don't like it. Their reasoning was a little different, though, and that was because they help each other with each other's training camp. It would mean they're pretty much in camp all year.
Yeah.
This would give them a break to kind of go off on vacation. And their coach, Pavel, as well, would have a little bit more of a break. So that was pretty interesting to learn about them. I know we have 2 phone calls right now. People on hold. Dan from Oregon, Showtime from Tennessee. Danny, can you patch Showtime in?
Oh, I see how it is.
What?
Showtime, what up? It's yo time.
What up, Joe's and Dan, Tom?
Holla, holla.
I'm going to ask you a question before you ask me a question. You ready?
What up?
You got World Cup fever or what?
Yeah.
You know what? You know what I'm gonna tell you? I'm not even a soccer guy, and I've been into this World Cup, man, every day watching it. I mean, making sure I take a block out of my day to watch it. And I'm not even a soccer guy. I was one of the guys that, you know, talk a lot of crap about soccer, you know, with the guys flopping and all that. But this World Cup, man, I was actually pulling for Peru.
Thank you.
Because of you guys.
We heard that from quite a few people.
I mean,
we appreciate that. You know, it's funny because a lot of people were giving their support. And going in, like, I mean, if you watch Peru, they barely made it into the World Cup. And we just didn't think they would do too well. But they actually played really well. And had they won that first fight or first game that they dominated, they'd be in a really good spot right now. But everybody was super happy with the way that turned out. And I'll tell you guys, because we've had a lot of people reach out and say that they've actually really enjoyed the World Cup. If you like just watching it like this, wait till you get the strategy of the game and the reason why substitutions are coming in at the time they are, the adjustments that are being made. It'd be like if you watch MMA, you don't need to know much to just have fun watching 2 guys or 2 gals swing for the fences. But once you understand the intricacies of everything, it's more enjoyable. Same thing with soccer.
Yeah.
Once you start to understand the rules and what's actually going on the technical side, you'll enjoy it even more. So who's your horse now? Because Peru's out.
You know what? I have some buddies of mine, man. Actually, it actually ended. Some guys from Senegal have a clothing store here in Chattanooga, man, that I deal with. And they just like you guys. You go into their store and they're all packed in watching, you know, soccer. So I was basically pulling for Senegal, man.
All right. How about you, Dan Tom? You got a team now?
My boy Sergio Ramos still kicking?
Yeah, actually.
All right, España it is then.
España it is. I'm rooting for Mexico, and that should maybe last a couple more days.
I shouldn't say.
I'll be rooting for France.
It goes. I shouldn't say still kicking. I should say he's still taking down, right?
Yeah, really. What's on your mind, MMA wise? Showtime.
Oh, man, I just wanted to call in, man. Those Shevchenko sisters, man, I love them, man. Classy. I mean, you know, we need more people in the sport, man, like those young ladies, man. I really love them, and I watched the sister. You know, I'm in the Muay Thai as well, so I've had my eye on the sister, and really was wondering when she was going to finally, you know, make her way over, you know, to MMA, man. And I think the sky's the limit for her. You know, with them having that background of being kids and basically all they know is fighting. It's gonna be very, very interesting, man, to see what happens. And you guys asked some good questions about what they're gonna do when both of them, you know, one is the champ and one is the #1 contender, and I think it's gonna happen sooner than later.
Yeah, it's funny, man. I mean, like, I found it very interesting. I love the way how they can just be so chill and then flip a switch and be so gangster, and it's not like that Nate Diaz double finger scowl look. It's just in the way they say things, you know, especially when Valentina was asked a little bit about Amanda, you could just see that change in temperature in her face. They can get gangster when they need to, and it was fun to kind of get to know both of them now.
Valentina for sure had an Amanda file that you could see her accessing. Like,
oh yeah,
that's there.
Yeah, that I have a feeling at some point that'll happen again, but it just can't happen right now.
Oh yeah. Hey, one more thing I want to make. It's not with MMA, but it's with combat sports. I was reading that Timothy Bradley inked the deal with another contract with ESPN. With the Top Rank and all that. And, with their main two fighters being Lomachenko and Terrence Crawford. I wonder with the UFC, doing this new deal, if it's going to be some guys that they kind of have that mainly fight on that ESPN Plus platform, if they're going to be able to kind of get something worked out. Sort of like how Arum has his two guys that they fight on ESPN instead of doing pay-per-views. That's their channel that they fight with. I'm wondering if the UFC will have any fighters that, kind of be in that same situation.
When did Timothy Bradley do that?
I just read it like on I just read it like a few minutes ago. I guess that's something new with him. It's an announcer contract, not a fighting contract, but with him, been announcing the fights.
I kept waiting for Timothy Bradley to kind of jump over a little bit. Like, I thought he hit his peak, but I thought he still had one more, like, really, really good solid run, and he just never really developed into that. He was up there, but he was never the guy.
Oh, I want to be the guy, too.
Yeah.
I want to play, too, I only caught part of that question about Bradley. I would say by now, whatever it is he's doing announcing, that's just probably the best move for him, and that's probably the best home for him. Similar to Eve Edwards, he was a frequent contributor to Fox, but it seemed like the PFL offered him something more stable and consistent. So that's probably just a decision that they all weigh and make. And some people are able to pull off being able to go on multiple networks, and others can't.
As far as the ESPN thing goes, I mean, during the Fox era, wow, I can't believe I'm saying that. They kind of had their fighters, right? Their go-tos that we would always see pop up on Fox cards. Glover Teixeira was
Nate
on
Diaz.
Clay Guida, Nate Diaz. So you never know, man. Could work out like that.
Yeah. Yep. All right, guys. Well, great show as usual, and you guys have a great day.
Okay,
Thank you.
Easy showtime.
All right.
Dan from Oregon. What's up, Dan?
What up, fellas? Shout out everyone in the YouTube chat. Stewie, Human Moron, Tong, all sexy chocolate. He's one of my new favorites. Man, as we're having on the Shevchenko Sisters and everything, and we got Jessica Evil Eye getting a victory. She's like 12-1 in the flyweight division. An upcoming fight that everyone is sleeping on is Liz Carmouche versus the Invicta champion Jennifer Maia. Man, I really hope, no offense to Paul Felder, I hope he gets pulled from that card and they get bumped to the co-main event, because that being the fight past main event, there's just no love there. And I'm looking at Valentina versus Nico. Who are they going to face next, man? I'm looking at Bellator. They got these tournaments that are really fucking getting me excited. All I got is tournament fever in my head. Maybe it's World Cups. Maybe it's PFL. I don't freaking know. But if you told me that Sajara Eubanks, who got a nice win, is going to face Jessica Evil Eye, and that's one part of a tournament with Maya Liz Carmouche, and then the Calgary fighters with Caitlin Cook again versus Alexis Davis, that would get me excited for that division, because that division's so new. I don't know what's going on there. But one more thing, guys, before I go. I can't stand UFC. What the hell's going on? Ally Quinta's pulling out of fights because they're not paying him more money that he rightfully deserves, like all of these fucking fighters. And we just get a trickle-down effect, which means my Kona main event from the Boise card I'm going to gets pulled. Freaking this event over here is getting pulled, that's getting pulled, and we're just getting a worse quality product. What the hell's going on with UFC, man? I want the salad days back with sold-out shows everywhere. Can we do that? Can we get there again? Back to you guys, man. I'm out.
Thanks, Dan.
I think that's the piece of the puzzle that everybody forgets about, is the trickle effect. It's not just the one card that suffers. Now you pull Paul Felder. Now Paul Felder needs an opponent because James Vick is gone. There's a trickle effect to it. earlier in the show, we talked about fighters making more money and the effect that it would have, certain things like this. This particular case, though, I'm going to say it's not so much fighters making a certain amount of money. It's the fact that Ally Aquinta doesn't have to do it because he has another profession going on at the same time. I think it's more that than it is like he's got a ton of money that he's just sitting on. And I don't know that you'll see that with every fighter, but there are the instances where fighters do make a lot of money now, and mostly champions, where they used to fight 3 times a year. Now I think that goes down to 2, and it's because they have more money. You have more money, you're going to spend more money, you're going to do things. You don't have to do as many fights in your career as some of the other guys used to have to. So I don't know, man. I hope Paul Felder, I mean, this is the second time that something like this kind of happened to him, but if you really look down the list of people for him to fight, there's just not that many.
Well, from what I remember, Al got a raise, and he bragged about it before what was supposed to be the Paul Felder fight. A lot of it was up front, I remember. And he was pretty stoked. I think he actually almost even bragged about it. Haha, this is what I got, and all you fighters need to stand up for yourselves. So he got that, and then when he was rushed in to fight Khabib, I heard he got a bonus for stepping in. I think what he's thinking is now he's on that level that he should be getting paid like that. And I think what Dana's trying to say is, well, that's because you got us out of a jam. But now it reverts to the other contract that we gave you about that you were happy. So they just haven't been able to figure it out. And it seems to me two sides that are going to stand their ground,
Mm-hmm.
Now, the one thing the UFC always has is time. If Iaquinta wants to parlay that performance, because he had a good representation of himself, I thought. You know what I mean? He hasn't fought much the last few years. And, that's Khabib, for crying out loud. That's a world champ that's never lost. But, Al was in there and he battled. But if he wants to build off that, the Sanchez win, which was what? Is that now 2 years ago or a year ago? Which was, the comeback off 3 years. But if he just kind of wants to build a little bit off that and peel off a few and then either sail off into the sunset with some money or maybe work his way back to a title fight, he's got to do it before he reaches that age. Look, Johnny Hendrix retired at 34, right? Michael Bisping's almost 40. But at 34, he wasn't a world champion. And no one thought he was going to be a world champion. He had a resurgence. He pushed through. Johnny Hendrix said enough. Now, Johnny Hendrix also been competing since 5, so it could be that he was just worn thin. But if you don't have time on your side, you can take these stances and then figure it out. Nate Diaz is taking a stance. He's not getting paid until he fights a certain amount. But these fighters fought so frequently when they were only getting paid $10,000, $15,000, and here are the big paydays. They're there in front of you. And if you're going to take the stance now, oof, man, that's... I hope you think that one through, you know what I mean? Because this is where you could be really making the big dough. And but if you're not fighting, you're not making money. But if you've done well for yourself elsewhere, then great. We assume Al Iaquinta's selling homes left and right and doing great. We don't know. If he's killing it, great. If he's not, if he's just starting off, I mean, it sounds to me like it's a career that took off in the last 3 years or something like that. 4 years, I don't know. But we really don't know. So I don't know how to give an opinion on that. I know Dan's very pro fighter, but I think it has to make business sense on both sides. Now as far as that card, Felder's got 2 weeks, and I think they can find him an opponent. Who it'll be, I don't know. Vic, the reason Vic had to step in is because today tickets were going on sale, and they needed an opponent for Gaethje, so they panicked and they pulled that one apart. And I guess they'll try and do something with Felder or move him to another card. I don't know. All right. We got to take this break. You're listening to MMAjunkie Radio on Sirius XM, Rush 93.
They taught Andy Griffith how to whistle. Here are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Man, let's just jump right into it. We got PFL 3 right around the corner. It's happening on July 5th. The first 2 shows have been fantastic. Remember, the PFL has 6 different weight classes, 12 different fighters in each weight class that are all competing for a grand prize of $1 million. They start off with regular season matchups and then move on to the playoffs. So now we're on to the welterweights. The welterweights will be featured at PFL 3. And check out this matchup, Rick Story versus Yuri Villafort. Remember, NBC Sports has you covered, 9 p.m. Eastern start time. That's channel 220 if you have DirecTV. Otherwise, check your cable and satellite listings. Also, on Fight Week, we'll release their Facebook links so you can check out prelims and pre- and post-fight coverage. Joining us now on the hotline is Rick Story. What's up, Rick? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, thanks.
Awesome, man. Good to have you back here on the MMAjunkie Radio Show. And, of course, now the welterweights get a chance to perform, go out there, rack up not only a win but some points so you have a favorable seeding as you move into the playoffs. You had a chance to watch 2 shows now, I imagine. What have you thought so far of the PFL, its format, and everything that they have to offer?
I mean, the format is definitely different than what I'm used to. But besides that, it's pretty par for course. It hasn't had any red flags pop up. But I mean, really, it's better than what you can ask for, considering what the rewards are for the promotions.
Yeah, no doubt. Is it anything that alters your game plan in terms of going out there, and not that you're never searching for a finish, every fighter is, but maybe now you pass more than you run the ball, if we can use a football term. You need to gain more yards at a quicker fashion if you want to get more points.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really think that's gonna play too much, especially when you get hit the first time. At least for me, you can go on with the strategy and kind of try to pace yourself, that way you're not hurt for the next fight or whatnot. But at that pace, you could get hurt or you could get clipped and beat. So if you're going to do that, I mean, you need to be really confident with your skills and just be on point. But I mean, yeah, everything changes as soon as you get hit.
You haven't competed in about almost 2 years, so we haven't caught up with you in about almost 2 years. So my question is, where do you train now? Who are your coaches? What gyms are you at?
I stayed around the area. I joined up with Gracie Baja in Portland. It's Fabiano Scherner's place.
Yep. And
I mean, it's a tough room. So it's really good. You got the guys keep me sharp, make me pay when I'm not, and make me as best I can be for this fight.
Mm-hmm. Hey, one other question I got for you. How does it work? Everything is normal. I heard you guys get paid to show up to fight in the regular season and in the playoffs, but that last fight is worth $1 million. Has every fighter made sure that they've conversed with their coaches and managers? Because whether it's 5%, 10%, 20%, whatever it is, that arrangement, is it going to be the same when you get to the $1 million prize, giving away either $200,000, $100,000, $50,000 to that coach? Is that something you've even thought about?
I mean, from my perspective, it's going to be the same percentage across the board. Just because you won the bonus, I mean, why is that going to change your guys' negotiations to begin with? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's going to be a considerable amount of money,
right,
that you're giving to the place that you're training at.
Right.
So I don't see the reason for it to bump up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. And if I recall, Rick double bonused once in Dallas, Texas, and I think you gave your whole bonus to your gym, right? Something like that.
It was pretty close. I invested in about $100,000, so it's I won $144,000 that night, and then $100,000 of that went to investing into the gym, and then the rest in taxes and paying off some school debt.
Yeah, so Rick's been a team player. I definitely got to go to bat for him there. All right, let me turn it over to the guys here. Goes, what do you have for Rick's story?
Rick, was there anything that you could see from the first two PFLs that you could learn that and apply towards what you're doing here in the third one now?
The only thing I could learn is that these guys are going for it. It didn't really seem like anybody's pacing anything. They're definitely trying to win because that $1 million grand prize is pretty motivational.
Is the money? Is that the big thing that drew you in, or did you kind of like? Let's just say the money was a little bit less, but that whole system of points and all that, was that part of what brought you in as well?
Not necessarily. It's just the ability to win and get paid for actually winning. Like, if you barely win as opposed to knocking the person out in the first round, just you win and pretty much you advance and you make the money regardless if you're a fan favorite or not. It's just like wrestling in a tournament or something. You win, you go on, and it doesn't matter if you're a boring wrestler. And as long as you win, the outcome is still going to be the same. That's really what you mean.
Dan Tom, our fight analyst, he's got something for you. Dan, what do you have for Rick, the horror story?
Hey, what's going on, Rick? Good to talk to you again. I just wanted to kind of touch on something you said earlier. You shouted out Gracie Baja Portland out over there, and I'm seeing so many more fighters from across the board, across the weight classes at a high level coming from there. But I got to ask you, because you're a guy I use as an example a lot when I say a durable southpaw who can wrestle can cause a lot of problems. Obviously, you can do much more than that. You go to the body great. You can fight in the clinch. But I guess what I'm asking is, how much of this is you building on what was already there, and how much of it is whether it's the new influences of new training camp or the PFL format that my co-host touched on, kind of enticing maybe different performances out of the fighters. Are you kind of keeping things the same, or are we going to see some new things here?
Brushing up on techniques that I was sharp on once before and kind of fell off on. Every fight, you go into a training camp and you really want to focus on one or two things to either learn or get really sharp at. So, I've been out for some time and doing other things. So I had to come back and kind of take my bumps and bruises and get beat up for about a month before I started, kind of getting some timing back. But basically just researching on my techniques and just getting sharp and feeling confident again. So, nothing really new, but just really refining things that were solid for me in the past.
Cool. And just one follow up on that. You mentioned the other things, and I believe you talked about it in other interviews in the past. But as far as obviously your focus is on the PFL tournament, but as far as time, are you having to put those things on the back burner completely, still balance them in the schedule, and just coming back to it full time later? How's that working out?
It's just kind of I started pursuing firefighting, but I didn't put both feet in to really pursue it just because I knew that an opportunity to fight would come up. And I was just kind of holding out for the right opportunity. And the PFL came up, and it just seemed exactly what I was waiting for. So for the amount of money that I can make in the time frame, there's nothing that's going to beat that. And being in the UFC, I definitely would have made that amount of money even if I would have won all the way through.
Rick, will you go back to continuing what you started with firefighting, or is that something that just went away? You'd have to start over.
No, it's not going to go away. It's definitely what I want to do after I'm done fighting, and I don't want to drag my feet on it. I need to start doing it now because there's no retirement in fighting. So I need to get something going now. That way, I'm not waiting like 3 to 4 years to get into a fire department, and then that time it's like I'm starting to get elderly.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. Rick Story, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. Catch him next Thursday as he fights Yuri Villafort at PFL 3 in Washington, D.C. These are welterweights, and this is the first regular season matchups for all 12 welterweights that will be competing for the ultimate prize of $1 million. Rick's got 19 wins in his career, and check out these wins, guys, over the years. Tarek Safadine, Gunnar Nelson, Brian Ebersol, Thiago Alves, Johnny Hendrix, Dustin Hazlett, Brian Foster, and Jake Ellenberger. Ryan Healy, got to throw him in there. He's a tough out as well, man.
Yeah.
You've definitely had quite the career, Rick, spread over, these past 11, 12 years that you've been competing, and you've definitely competed everywhere.
Yeah, and when I fought those guys, they were either on the rise or they're at their best. So when people like go back and look at it, they need to take that into consideration too. And the true fight fans really do, and they appreciate that. But some of the new fans that come in and they see like kind of people, fighting off maybe at the tail end of their career, and they're just like, oh well, this person's, beatable. But if you go back a few years and look at the person when they're in their prime, it's a different story.
Yep. Well, I still remember cashing that plus 270 on you against Thiago Alves, so thanks for that, Rick, again, now that you mention it.
It was my pleasure.
All right. Rick, you saw Johnny Hendrix retired. You shared the octagon with him. Any thoughts on when you hear some of these guys that you competed with retiring? You're still only 33, but we just talked about how you're prepping yourself for a possible new career as well. So did anything go through your mind, or is this the first time you're hearing it?
I heard it yesterday, but it makes sense to me. It's like not everybody has it in them to keep doing these things and getting beat up until they're 40. It's kind of a special person to be able to go through and do that. It's like, in my opinion, it's like I'm just going until I feel like I do not want to come to the gym and show my face because I'm not motivated to do it anymore. So right now I still have that motivation, and it took me some time after my fight with Jannetty to really get motivated to get back in there. But the motivation's back and feeling sharp and ready to go.
All right, my man. Thanks for the time. We appreciate it. Good luck next Thursday at PFL 3.
All right, thank you.
All right, take care. All right, that's Rick's story, folks. We got about 90 seconds. Marco from Waco, what's up, man?
Marco from Waco, real quick. That's from Oregon. The sky is not falling. I always get the feel that he wants the UFC to go on the demise. I was watching UFC today, and I kind of feel dawned on me. What is going to happen with all the shoulder program and the UFC Elite, the road to the octagons, all the freaking the UFC top 10s, and even the replays of the fights, that we see in FS1 and FS2. Are they going to leave on ESPN Plus, or I want to see it like in ESPN 2 or ESPNU? Peace out.
See it.
Good question.
It is a good question. I'm going to the UFC PI in a few minutes. So if I remember that question, I'll ask it and see. I think it's a valid question. We haven't really talked too much about that. I asked Danny if he could stay a few minutes over. Can you?
I can, but I gotta piss so bad.
Well, go piss. Dan, Tom, you all right? You have to piss too?
I can. I'll do if he's doing it. Yeah.
All right. Uh-oh. All right.
Just kidding.
We got about 30 seconds here.
I can hold out.
So, Sirius XM audience, when you do hear about overtime, there's many ways to one way to catch it. Just go to youtube.com/MMAjunkie video. You get the meat and potatoes of the show here. And also, if you missed any portion of the show, you can always get it on the fabulous Sirius XM app. Mm-hmm. That app also houses Luke Thomas, Busted Open, At the Fights, MMA Tonight. So check it out if you missed any or all part of the show. That's right, the app. It's awesome. And we'll be back in a couple minutes to do some overtime on YouTube.
I'm gonna keep on the run. I'm gonna hound.
As you all have noticed, Junkie Nation, I've been putting out there a little bit more. I think finally it's off and running. The Junkie Gathering for 2018. Goes is going to assist me with it, but basically it's my baby. I opened my mouth one year It may have not been the last one. It may have been the one before. I go, I think I'd like to plan it one time. I've also assisted Goes behind the scenes with some stuff. He's done most of it, but I've been able to, lean on some people to do a few things. And so I don't know. I don't know why I did it, and I regret it. But it's off and running, right? We have 2 people confirmed for the Junkie Gathering. This one's a little bit different. I think in the past years we've done letters of intent.
Mm-hmm.
We had an actual day dedicated to just people calling in saying, "Oh, I'll be there," and then half of them wouldn't show anyway. But still, half of them would, and then there's some that didn't call in that would show up anyway. Well, this one's going to be a little different. Again, it's Wednesday, October 3rd through Saturday, October 7th. Goes did tell me that as of Monday and Tuesday, stuff is happening, but more of the stuff that involves MMA fighters will be more like Thursday through Saturday. I think that's probably the reason why 90% of you show up, especially the ones that have never experienced a Junkie Gathering. So, have that into consideration. Nobody's telling you not to come on a Tuesday or a Monday. Hell, I've even seen people on a Sunday. And I've seen people stay. It ends officially Saturday night. I've seen people stay Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I swear to God, I thought I saw Darius here on a Wednesday. So that can and will happen, and the studio's open for you guys to come on any of those days. But I guess what I'm saying is the bulk of the package will be Wednesday through Saturday.
Yeah, it will
now,
be.
people have been asking, what's going to happen? Goes is different from me. Goes can tell you, Wednesday, after the show, we will be going to Hot Doggies. I think that was one of them, right?
No.
What was it called, the hot dog place?
Oh,
Bulldoggies?
Bulldoggies. Wednesday night, we will be at this brewery. I'm different. All I can tell you is a lot of what we've done is going to be used, except I'm one of those guys, and this carries over into my personality. I try and wait to see what the best thing is happening towards the very end. And my friends and family hate me for it because they want to know, hey, when are we leaving for California? Hey, what days are we taking vacation? And I'm just a procrastinator to the 10th degree. But I really try and always pull it together. Goes and Jenny, his ex-girlfriend, used to nickname me at one point. I think my nickname was Somehow, Someway. You remember that?
I didn't come up with that, but that's pretty good.
I thought it was Jenny or you that said, man, this guy somehow, some way does pull it off. So let me give you an example. If I were to tell you, on Thursday, we're going here, right? Goes would kind of stick to the plan. Whereas if in about a month, somebody goes, did you know on Thursday this is happening? As long as I'm not shitting on somebody, I mean, if it's just a restaurant we're all going to go to and their doors are going to be open anyway, I would kindly tell them, it appears we can either move to another day or maybe we won't be showing up. And that's it. I wouldn't jeopardize any relationships or anything. But if something else comes up, then I would think that the junkies are on my wavelength. Oh, the better thing? Let's do that. So I'm not going to give you, I guess, that type of a schedule where it's like on Thursday at 6, on Friday at 2, because I'm gathering info to see what's happening. Every day I see something else that's happening, that I think the junkies would enjoy, because I think it's a nice blend, a nice mix of things revolving around UFC 226, opportunities to hang with fighters, using events from the past, and then always tossing in a new wrinkle or two. Because everything we've done in the past has not sucked, So when you all ask me what are the events, all I can tell you is what we're probably going to do. I just don't know on what day we're going to do it. I got to figure all that out, And some is also up to the schedule of the other person as well. Because a lot of people that I've asked, hey, would you be interested? Could you do this? Can I get a confirmation or whatever? They all look at me like, bro, it's July. It's June. Like, I can say yes, but closer to the event, I can see what my timeline looks like, So that's what I'm doing. Also, I need to hear from you that you are going to come to the Junkie Gathering, and it's twofold. Hey, I'm coming. I'll be there. And at the same time, step 2 is you have to send us the fee that I'm charging this year for organizing this damn thing via PayPal. Most of you have my email address. That's the PayPal. 2 people have already sent in their money, and they're on the list that we have for the Facebook page that I created for. I'm doing an event page Goes was telling me this morning. He goes, oh man. He goes, I haven't thought of that. I think you've done.
I've never used an event page.
What
before.
have you done?
I just create group.
A
pages.
group page, yeah. And I don't know
To be honest,
why.
I don't even know what the difference is. That's why I was.
Me
like,
neither. It's just an event, and so what I did was the first person that signed up and paid his money was John Rico. Thank you to him. By way of, well, from the main streets of Huntington Beach, by way of King's MMA. And then the other person was Chris from Seattle. He's already paid his money. He'll be coming for the Junkie Gathering, and so now they're on a list on the Facebook page, and that's the easiest way for me to keep track of what's happening or whatever. Now, what that does help is if only 20 of you are showing up, then at least I can figure out, how to plan this damn thing a little bit easier. And that's different than if 80 show up or 100 show up or 50 show up or whatever, So I don't know how this first year is going to go off, honestly. I know there's been a pushback, and that's fine. I can respect it. But I know that every year we've also had new names, But thanks to John and Chris, who've already signed up, and them two, along with Goes and I, are in the Facebook group. And there's not much there yet, but again, that's kind of what's kind of getting the ball rolling. So reach out to me on Facebook or Twitter. I really don't want to say my email out loud, honestly. I'd rather just, in all the different ways we communicate, I'll pass my email address that way. Or if you...
Can they just add you on Facebook?
They can do that too, whatever. But if they already have it, then just send me something. And any questions you have, I'd rather discuss it there. I really will just try and be on top of this because, again, that's part of the work of organizing this thing. Now, what I did throw out was a few things. Texas Day Brazil seems to be a hit every year. Everyone looks forward to it. I wanted to discuss on air with you guys what you think. There's one day that's
Brazil?
Yeah, there's one day that seems to be pretty easy to organize. So UFC 226 is. Sorry, I keep calling that. I'm fucking up. It's 229. 226 is next week. UFC 229 is on a Saturday, like it always is. On Friday, they have the weigh-ins, whether they're the real weigh-ins or the other weigh-ins. Some people have never seen a weigh-ins, but it's always just fun to charge it as a group. That's at 4, right? And I'm thinking there's this concert that I thought every year we seem to do a concert where we all just go and listen to some music, If we did Texas Day Brazil on Friday after the show and then hustle on over to the weigh-ins, after the weigh-ins, we're not going to be hungry enough to eat before the concert, right? I mean, Texas Day Brazil, we're stuffed. So at that point, I'm thinking I got to figure out a small activity to plan in between the weigh-ins and the concert. The concert starts at 8. It could just be let's sit around and drink somewhere, or we don't do Texas Day Brazil and we go to...
if you do Texas Day Brazil...
You had said Todd English maybe is a good spot, right?
That's a great spot, yeah. If you do Texas Day Brazil, you always want to do it Friday because that's the cheapest.
Right, that's the thing I was thinking about. We could just do a buffet, but a buffet's like Texas Day Brazil. Once again, we'll be full. We did the Bacchanal buffet at Caesar's Palace once. So I'm thinking, leave Texas Day Brazil alone. It's always a hit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then go to the weigh-ins, and then we'll find something to do in between the weigh-ins and the concert. And really, there's nothing wrong with sitting around as a group, hanging out before the concert, and then go to the concert. The concert, I can tell you, will be garbage.
No, it'll be good.
Goes got off the first scud. Look,
Okay,
I know when Goes said Guns N' Roses, some of you went, oh, because you like hip-hop. And I know when Goes said Kings of the Mic the next year, some of you went, oh, because you like rock. And all the different genres. But you know what? In the end, we've all gone to all of them. And I think everyone's had a good time. The one thing about this band is they have some catchy tunes. And it's at a real cool spot.
It's called the best spot.
Yep. It's called the, it's at the Cosmo. But the name of the venue is, go ahead, guys, tell them the name of the venue.
It's the Chelsea.
Exactly. At the Cosmo. The ground moves around. It's just, the acoustics are great.
Wow.
So I think we're just going to hang out and we're going to go to that concert. The price is really low. And I'm trying to be considerate. That same weekend, Drake is at the MGM. And I know a lot of you probably love Drake. Oh, my God,
Mm-hmm.
But that ticket's pretty expensive.
And even if you wanted it, you might not be able to get it. That's probably going to sell out fast. Listen to me when I say this, because I'm going to try and be nice. do not get a seat at the Cosmo. The best part about the Cosmo is being on the floor. It's a cheaper ticket. The beer stand is right there on each side. The bathroom is accessible. Just get the cheap general admission ticket. We'll all be together. That's part of the fun.
Here's the thing, though. I was looking at the layout, and it looks like the standing's in the back.
What? They're putting seats in the front?
It looks like yeah.
How dumb is that? Why would they do that?
I don't
Are
know.
you sure?
Well, you can look
That
at it.
Sucks.
But I did see that and noticed it, and I was like, that kind of sucks.
So
But
their
I
standing is in the back of the floor?
No, in the back towards the top.
Oh.
But it's
why
only
do they
$25.
do that?
We're not getting baked for like $85.
Yeah.
Vegas concerts can be expensive. It's a night to hang out,
especially with that band.
Some catchy tunes, and it's just kind of a tradition we've always done. We've always done a concert. We've done Kings of the Mic, which was LL Cool J.
Hold on.
Public Enemy.
Yeah.
De La Soul. And was it Ice Cube?
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube, yeah. We've done Guns N' Roses. We've done Smashing Pumpkins.
Marilyn Manson. That was a combo.
Yeah, so look, we've always switched it up, and this is basically a 90s band, a grunge band, or whatever they are. Danny, find me a garbage song while I'm talking. And anyway, it'll, like I said, it'll be fun to hang out. And afterwards, we still may do something because that's on Friday night, and that's when the whole thing's starting to wind down.
With the lights on.
That's when the whole thing's starting to wind
Kiss.
down. So, look, you guys are asking for something. There you go. We've also tried to give you a taste of Vegas. Goes has taken us to some breweries and some other places. I wanted to do it a little bit different, so I can announce we are going to be going to the Mob Museum in downtown Las Vegas. And obviously we're having a post-fight, end of the Junkie Gathering themed party. We're having that. That always happens. We're having a viewing party for UFC 229. That always happens. We're having the show throughout the week with fighters in studio. That always happens. We'll also be doing a gym invasion. I kind of have an idea of what event we might be doing there. So that. And again, remember some of the previous stuff we did? Some of that. And maybe a new wrinkle or two, and maybe a new surprise or two. But that's kind of what you're going to get out of me, man. That's just the way it works. I'm going to try and put my heart and soul into it. But what would really help is if you told me you were coming. So you can reach out to me to Facebook, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email, text. I don't know. Goes. But basically, it'll all come down to what's your email address, and then we'll email, and then we'll do it. And once you pay your fee, you're in, and I'll add you to that other group. And then now we won't have to bug other groups about what's going on and what they hate, what they don't like, or what they want to do to me. It'll just be this page dedicated to the people that are already going, and that's that. So that's all I wanted to say.
And if you have negative thoughts, make sure you tell everyone, because that's very productive. Make sure you let it be known that you're upset, okay? Thank you.
All right, that's it. So we got to get out of here. Thanks, Danny, for staying over. Dan Tom for staying over. Goes. I got to get to the UFC PI.
DD?
Oh, sorry?
DD?
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's what we were going to OT for. I was waiting for that.
Well,
yeah.
not only
Sorry,
that. However, we do have to
Danny. There's probably going in a piss, too.
Why didn't we? Did it all just hit you guys all right now?
Yeah. I didn't think of it until he brought it up.
I didn't think of it until right now as well.
I put a reminder, but I just realized now that I put that reminder and Go's already put his computer down. So
no.
that was my bad. That was my bad. I should have just caught that.
Okay. So the DD stands for the Daily Debate.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Huh?
Dunkin' Donuts.
All right.
We haven't done the Daily Debate for today.
Okay.
We got distracted with all the guests. And
Man, my first Daily
overtime.
Debate got smashed. It was supposed to be who would you pick to step in against Justin Gaethje? And then sure enough.
Dude, that's funny because I was going to tweet you that, like, hey, here's an idea, but it was kind of too late. I didn't want to, like, the text to come through and wake anybody up, but that's funny. I was going to suggest the same one.
Then I was going to do what is the greatest coaches challenge of all time, and I just figured this.
What is the greatest coaching challenge of all time?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was going to say, I feel like I think of, like, 20 Daily Debate topics, but they're all over the weekend. Like when I'm watching MMA, I'm like, ooh, that'll be a good one. Then I forget the next fight comes on.
I kind of liked Junior and Brox was good, and then I thought Mayhem and Bisping had a pretty good one.
Were they at the top of the palms playing ping pong?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Ping pong.
All right, here we go. We'll end with this. Today's Daily Debate question brought to you by the MMA Junkie Radio team. Former UFC welterweight champion Johnny Hendrix announced his retirement on Wednesday's show. What was your favorite fight of his career? 4 choices are John Fitch, he KO'd him at UFC 141. Martin Kampmann, he KO'd him at UFC 154. George St. Pierre, a split decision loss at UFC 167. Or Robbie Lawler, unanimous decision at UFC 171. That, by the way, is when he won the world title, the vacant world title. You go first.
A little biased here. I was at this fight. It was a GSP fight. It didn't go his way. A lot of people felt it did. But even though he didn't get the victory, after the fight at the press conference, GSP's face was battered, and he just had this look. I really do feel like Johnny Hendrix's power is what kind of sent him into semi-retirement that night. That's my pick.
Dan?
The knockouts were great, but perhaps maybe it's my love for Martin Kampmann that'll keep me away from that one. I'm going to go with the Robbie Lawler fight. I love that fight. It was a great fight as far as their 2 wars that they had with each other. And, regardless of how you scored it after the fact, I think all of us, no matter what side we were on, were pretty much in agreement that, okay, this 5th round is what it's going to come down to. And within that 5th round, there's just this one moment, Hendrix apparently is dealing with a bicep tear. And he really has to, Mark Lehman's trying to get the OSU out of him, and he gets that takedown. And you see Robbie Lawler, as soon as he scores the takedown, Robbie Lawler acknowledges that it was important in that round. He gives an exhale, and it was that classic, like when Rocky gets up and Apollo looks disappointed because he thought he had him after Mickey said stay down. That was that moment. I'll go with Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dan. That would probably be the best, too, because I love seeing Mark Lehman's reaction and the other coaches, because it was a journey, and he actually brought us along for the journey. We saw a lot of it. We saw a lot of training behind the scenes. Johnny would come in here and frequently co-host, and then him coming up short against GSP, and the press conference where Dana actually said, I thought Hendrix won, and GSP was seething. He was lumped up. But eventually he got the job done against Lawler. So that one was cool. But I'll tell you guys an interesting story. I had bet Johnny Hendrix. I had this fun little side bet thing going on with Dave Farah, who co-hosts or hosts 107.5 here in Las Vegas, and you've seen a lot of them in MMA. Real cool dude. So we would side bet from time to time, and I had gotten them like 3 in a row, and they were just like 10 a pop or 50, 10 or 20. It wasn't much, and we had basically decided it was going to be whatever he was at that he owed me. He was just going to pay me Texas de Brazil. We're going to go have lunch. He was going to pay the tab. I see him as I'm walking into the John Fitch fight, and he was doing. Remember him and Megan O'Leary used to do the other deal?
Mm-hmm.
What was it called?
Yeah, I don't remember, but it used to be right
out.
It was like a game day type thing.
Fight day. I think it was called Fight Day. And I see him, and so he's in between takes, and he goes, "Hey, there he is, the guy that keeps taking my money." And I go, "All right, I feel bad. I'll take the underdog if you want. You can have Fitch." And he goes, "Yes, like I'm getting my money back. All right, cool." It was a quick exchange. And I just keep marching to the Mandalay Bay. I think it happened here. I just keep marching to the Mandalay Bay. And Johnny skids him in like 12 seconds. And he saw me. He goes, "You set me up. You knew something." And I go, "No, man." I go, "It's just that Johnny's cool with us." And he won. So he owed double. It was supposed to be like a double date, I guess. Mm-hmm. His ex-wife now, Brandy, was going to come. And I was going to tell Juliet. I'm not even sure if Juliet was dating. But in the end, she couldn't come. And I don't even know if I was able to get Juliet to come or whatever. So what I wound up happening was we just had it, and I just squashed it. You don't need to pay me 2 Texas de Brazils, but it was really, really a fun ride, with Johnny, just all the different things. And by the way, since the show's still on, how about in the next few days, go out to Wendy's and order yourself a Baconator and take a picture and maybe write something witty on Twitter or Facebook, and we'll forward it to him or tag him in it. I think he'd get a kick out of that. That was his nickname here on the show, was the Baconator. So extra long daily debate for today. Sorry about that, but it's Johnny Hendrix, for crying out loud, and we got to celebrate one of the coolest fighters that we ever got to know here on Junkie Radio. The results, by the way, lean towards St. Pierre. 43%. That fight was their favorite. 27% for Robbie Lawler. 19% for John Fitch. 11% for Kampmann. Pretty spread out.
I thought Lawler would win.
Yeah, because it's when he won the world title. But there you have it, folks. Now, that also concludes the show. We got to get on out of here. So, for Danny Olkers, Dan Tom, the Goes, I'm George. Have a nice day. Go out there and be a champion.